New York City has always been a monument to ambition. Long before the steel and glass, this was the soil where the American dream was architected by men like Alexander Hamilton, men who saw a swampy island and imagined a global engine of capital. They didn't just build a city, they built a theater for human ego, a place where the desire to be remembered was written into the very grid of the streets. We are touring the culmination of a 250-year-old ambition. Because New York has always been a place where steel and glass rise not just toward the sky, but toward that primal human desire to be seen. Yet every so often, a building appears that doesn't simply add to the skyline, it rewrites the psychology of the city itself. On Clarkson Street, in the quiet, protected heart of the West Village, such a building has emerged. A pair of limestone towers that have already sold over $1 billion worth of homes before a single resident has stepped inside. A development that didn't just break records, it broke expectations. And in doing so, it revealed something deeper about the modern version of that Hamiltonian ambition. The wealthiest people in the world are no longer chasing visibility. They're chasing disappearance. When the news first broke about 80 Clarkson, it was hard to understand why the world's wealthiest people would choose a place so quiet, so hidden. But the more you walk these streets, the more you realize something. Even the most powerful people crave a place where they can simply exist without being watched. 80 Clarkson surpasses $1 billion in pre-completion sales, signaling the growing dominance of scarcity-driven demand in downtown Manhattan's ultra-prime market. With over $1 billion in signed contracts and a reported $129 million deal poised to rewrite the records, 80 Clarkson is unlike anything the city has seen since the days of the first merchant kings. For decades, the ultra-rich fought for altitude. The higher the penthouse, the closer they felt to the gods. Billionaires Row on 57th Street became a vertical battleground of ego, where glass towers pierced the clouds and every floor was a statement of dominance. But something shifted. The world became louder. Fame became a burden. Attention became a threat. The modern titan, the billionaire who once wanted to be seen, now wants to be invisible. And so, quietly, subtly, almost imperceptibly, they began migrating south. Not toward Midtown spectacle, but toward the West Village's silence. This isn't just a move, it's a migration of the old guard. While the crypto-rich and the overseas oligarchs are still fighting for the bragging rights of a Midtown zip code, the tech elite and the multi-generational dynasties are quietly offloading their glass boxes. They've realized that Billionaires Row is a fishbowl. 80 Clarkson is where the quiet wealth goes to hide from the loud money. Walk down 57th Street at rush hour, and you feel the shadows of those glass needles stretching for blocks, turning the street into a cold, dark canyon. It feels like a monument to look at me. But at 80 Clarkson, the sun actually hits the pavement. Midtown is new money, it's loud, it's glass, and it's increasingly vacant. But in the West Village, there's a warmth that money usually kills, but 80 Clarkson seems to be trying to bottle it instead. Silence is a strange thing. It's like a luxury we don't notice until life becomes too loud. I've always believed that the places we choose say something about the battles we're fighting inside. And here, in the West Village, the silence feels less like an absence, and more like a shelter. The West Village is a contradiction, a village inside a metropolis, a sanctuary inside chaos. There is a stretch of the Hudson River waterfront where it's easy to forget what stands behind you. Cobblestone streets give way to a greenway, which in turn gives way to the sky and then the river's waterline. The Hudson has always been a river of reinvention. It carried traders, dreamers, immigrants, and wanderers toward new beginnings. And in a way, it still does. For the residents of 80 Clarkson, the river becomes a reminder that even the most established lives can seek a quieter kind of rebirth. Standing on that waterfront, you realize the river doesn't care about your net worth. It just moves. For the person who spends $100 million here, that's the draw. The CEO waking up here doesn't just see a river, they see a moat. In a world where drones can peek into your windows and social media tracks your every move, the Hudson becomes the ultimate do not disturb sign. It's easy to see why someone would spend tens of millions just to wake up to this view. It's not the water they're buying, it's the feeling of being unhurried. The West Village has long been one of New York's most fiercely protected residential environments, one which does not make room for newcomers easily. Its low-rise character, landmark designations, and near-total absence of new supply have kept it, in the truest sense, a rarity. The West Village has always felt less like a neighborhood and more like a myth, a place where artists came to disappear into their work. Where poets walked narrow streets searching for meaning, where the city's noise softened just enough for you to hear your own thoughts. It's a place that doesn't just exist on a map, but in memory. Its streets are narrow, its buildings low, its identity fiercely protected. It is one of the few places in Manhattan where time seems to slow down. But it had a problem, it was full. No land. No height. No new supply. Which is why the arrival of 80 Clarkson feels almost mythological, like a structure that shouldn't exist but somehow does. 80 Clarkson is changing that. Rising 37 and 45 stories above Clarkson Street, approximately 420 and 490 feet respectively, the twin limestone towers designed by Cookfox Architects represent the most significant new residential development to land in downtown Manhattan in years. And like the curiosity surrounding any new arrival, the market has responded accordingly. When I first saw the renderings, I thought, this doesn't look like a building trying to impress anyone. It looks like a building trying to protect someone. And that's when it clicked, 80 Clarkson isn't a trophy. It's a refuge, a building that rose not through force, but through precision, through air rights acquisitions, legal choreography, and a developer's unwavering belief that the ultra-rich would pay anything for a home that offered both luxury and invisibility. The project launched with no fanfare. No billboards. No glossy ads. No public listings. Because the people it was built for don't respond to noise. They respond to whispers. They respond to scarcity. They respond to the feeling that something is not for everyone. And so, in silence, 80 Clarkson became one of the best-selling developments in New York City history. Before the building even topped out, contracts surpassed $1 billion. One residence went under contract for $129 million, the most expensive sale in downtown Manhattan's history. This wasn't just a real estate milestone. It was a psychological one. For the first time, billionaires were choosing the West Village over Central Park. Choosing privacy over prestige. Choosing stillness over spectacle. For decades, wealth was measured in visibility, the cars, the penthouses, the parties. But today's elite are shaped by a different world. A world of cameras, scrutiny, and constant exposure. Their luxury is no longer attention. It's escape. Think about the world they inhabit now. It's a world where Jack Dorsey seeks silence in remote retreats, and even Mark Zuckerberg builds literal walls around his estates just to reclaim a sense of being human. Between social media flight trackers and the rise of high-res drone paparazzi, a penthouse on 57th Street is a target, not a sanctuary. The elite are no longer running to the spotlight. They are paying hundreds of millions to buy back the privacy they lost on the way to the top. Their status symbol is no longer height. It's invisibility. It made me think about how often we chase things that shine, only to realize later that what we really wanted was something that feels safe. Maybe that's why this building resonates with me. It represents a shift from wanting to be seen to wanting to be understood. Downtown Manhattan has not seen a project of this scale and pricing since 150 Charles, yet one delivered into a very different market backdrop. Sales for the residence began a little over a year ago, but have staggeringly surpassed $1 billion in volume in that time. There's been strong take-up across all residence types in both towers, with interest for the remaining apartments remaining strong. The architecture of 80 Clarkson reflects this shift. It is not designed to impress you. It is designed to erase you. The limestone facade absorbs light instead of reflecting it. The oversized grid windows frame the Hudson River like a moving painting. The towers are tall, but not flashy. Elegant, but not loud. Visible, but not attention-seeking. This is architecture as a psychological shield, a place where the wealthy can retreat from a world that constantly wants something from them. Their time, their image, their attention, their identity. Inside, the residences are vast but warm, minimalist but not empty, luxurious but not ostentatious. Because true wealth doesn't need to shout. It whispers. Visibility is a currency with a hidden cost. The more the world sees you, the less of yourself you get to keep. And perhaps that's why buildings like 80 Clarkson exist, not to elevate their residents above the city, but to return them to themselves. And that whisper reminds me of something. The most meaningful places in our lives rarely announce themselves. They're like pages in a diary, quiet, private, and deeply personal. 80 Clarkson feels like one of those pages. The building's 112 residences, ranging from 2-bedroom homes to expansive 7-bedroom duplexes. Half-floors, full floors, and penthouses are listed from $7 million to $80 million, a price range that reflects both the scarcity of the location and the scale of what's being offered. One signed contract, reported at $129 million, is set to become the most expensive residential transaction ever recorded in downtown Manhattan, surpassing the $60 million set at nearby 150 Charles, itself a Cookfox-designed building. But the deeper story here is not architectural. It is philosophical. Why does someone who has everything still want more? Why does a billionaire buy a $70 million apartment they may only visit twice a year? Why build a tower designed for people who don't want to be seen? Because ambition is not about accumulation. It is about transformation. The wealthy don't buy homes. They buy versions of themselves. A penthouse is not a property, it is a mirror. A reflection of who they believe they are, or who they want to become. And 80 Clarkson represents a new archetype, the billionaire who seeks peace instead of power, stillness instead of status, a life that feels human rather than heroic. I've always believed that ambition isn't about climbing higher, it's about becoming clearer. Clearer about who we are, what we value, and what we're willing to walk away from. And in a strange way, this building feels like the physical form of that clarity. What sets 80 Clarkson apart is the combination of scale, waterfront positioning, and the pedigree and track record of the development team. Opportunities to build at this level in Manhattan are extraordinarily limited, particularly along the Hudson River, said Amy Williamson, 80 Clarkson's director of sales. When you pair that with an unparalleled design team and a comprehensive lifestyle offering, it becomes clear that this is not just competitive within New York, but on a global stage. And within a combined estimated sellout exceeding $2 billion, 80 Clarkson has set a benchmark for what developments in this segment can expect to achieve today. The West Village itself plays a role in this transformation. It has always been more than a neighborhood. It is a philosophy, a rejection of the grid, a refusal to conform, a celebration of the imperfect, the intimate, the human. And that is exactly what billionaires are buying. Not just a home, a worldview. A belief that life can be slower, softer, more intentional. A belief that success doesn't have to be loud. A belief that the greatest luxury is not space, or height, or marble, but silence. When I first moved to New York, I thought luxury meant chandeliers, marble floors, and penthouses. But the longer I stayed, the more I realized that the real luxury was time to breathe, time to think, time to feel human again. The West Village taught me that. The development team lends considerable weight to those numbers. Zeckendorf Development, whose prior work includes 15, Central Park West. Arguably the most celebrated luxury condominium ever built in New York, is joined by Atlas Capital Group, the masterminds behind the development site, as well as the Boarpost Group. It's a partnership already intimate with the surrounding locale, having master-planned the West Village neighborhood, which includes the new Google campus on nearby Hudson Square. 80 Clarkson is the physical manifestation of that belief. A tower built not to dominate the skyline, but to blend into the soul of the neighborhood. Its architectural and design credentials are equally serious. Cookfox's emphasis on natural design has woven organic materials, terraces, loggias, and integrated greenery throughout the limestone facade. Nearly 80% of the building's homes feature private outdoor space, a rarity in Manhattan luxury real estate and one of the building's defining characteristics. The interiors are the work of the late Thierry Despont, the Paris-born designer whose commissions form a canon of the world's most significant private residences. Despont was the creative force behind 220 Central Park South, home to the most expensive residential sale ever recorded in the United States, and 80 Clarkson marks his final completed project, lending a significance beyond its considerable commercial achievement. This was Despont's final act. He didn't just pick materials, he curated a specific type of old-world privacy. We're talking about limestone hand-selected for its ability to soften city echoes and floor plans that ensure a CEO never accidentally crosses paths with their neighbor in the hallway. This isn't just real estate, it's a piece of history that, quite literally, cannot be built again. When the designer of the Sultan of Brunei's palaces spends his final years on a project, you aren't paying for square footage. You're paying for a masterpiece that is officially sold out at the source. Walking through a space designed by Thierry Despont is like being inside a well-tailored suit. You don't notice the stitching, you just feel better wearing it. It made me realize that these buyers aren't paying for gold faucets, they're paying for the way a specific shade of marble makes them feel when they wake up at 6 a.m. If 80 Clarkson succeeds, and it already has, the center of gravity in New York will shift permanently. Billionaires Row will no longer be a single street. It will be a state of mind. A desire for privacy, for nature, for community, for meaning. This building is not just a record breaker. It is a prophecy. A sign that the next era of wealth is not about being seen, but about being free. A sign that the future of luxury is not height, but humanity. Life at 80 Clarkson begins at the gated entrance on Clarkson Street, where residents arrive into a landscaped court centered around a hand-carved eucalyptus root sculpture by artist Jamie Miranda Bambaran. A double-height lobby finished in limestone, marble, and mahogany extends beyond, accompanied by a dedicated driver's waiting room and on-site valet service. More than 50,000 square feet of amenities span the two towers. An 82-foot lap pool. A winter garden with palm trees and triple-height ceilings. A private restaurant within residence dining, a sports court for basketball and pickleball, a golf simulator, a content creation studio with sound engineering booth, spa facilities, and private climate-controlled wine rooms. Even the recreation is moved behind those limestone walls, where the thud of a pickleball game or the splash of the 82-foot pool never reaches the street. They aren't just amenities, they are the borders of a private kingdom. A resident can dine in a world-class restaurant, record a masterclass, and swim a mile without ever having to acknowledge that a city of 8 million people exists just outside the gate. But look closer at these choices. A sound engineering booth isn't just for a podcast. It's so a titan of industry can broadcast to the world without ever stepping into a public studio. The 82-foot pool isn't for exercise. It's for a swim where the only eyes on you are the ones you've vetted. It is a total ecosystem designed so the resident never has to leave the sanctuary. They aren't just buying a gym, they are buying the ability to never be spotted at an equinox again. But beyond the amenities, what struck me most was the intention behind them. Nothing here feels like it exists to impress guests, it exists to restore the people who live here. And that's a rare thing in a city built on performance. Residences carry Despont's signature material refinement throughout. French white oak herringbone floors. Christopher Peacock cabinetry, Cristallo Bianco quartzite worktops, and Dornbrack's polished platinum fixtures in bathrooms finished in Statuario Bianco and Bianco Dolomite marble. At the very top end of the market, buyers are no longer simply purchasing a residence. They are investing in a complete lifestyle, Williamson said. That means expansive space and exceptional design, but also a highly curated amenity and wellness offering that supports how they want to live day to day. Its first residents are projected to move in late 2026. But 80 Clarkson has now cemented its status as a symbol of what Manhattan's superprime market is still capable of offering. When I stood on Clarkson Street for the first time, watching the towers rise against the river's glow, I felt something unexpected, a sense of calm. Not the kind you find in quiet places, but the kind you find in meaningful ones. And I realized then that this building isn't just redefining luxury. It's redefining what it means to arrive. We're taught that arriving means the world finally knows your name. But looking at the Hudson from the 40th floor, you see it differently. Arriving is when you finally have enough power to tell the rest of the world to leave you alone. Not in the sense of success, but in the sense of finally finding a place that feels like it understands you. And in the end, 80 Clarkson is more than $1 billion development. It is a question. What do we really want when we say we want more? Is it height? Is it luxury? Is it status? Or is it something quieter, a place where we can finally hear ourselves think? The billionaires who buy here aren't escaping the world. They're escaping the noise. And maybe, in their own way, they're searching for the same thing we all are, a place where ambition meets peace. A place where the view isn't just beautiful, but meaningful. A place where the city feels less like a competition and more like a companion. A place where the skyline doesn't define you, it reflects you. But the more I looked at 80 Clarkson, the more I realized that the scale of the money is just a distraction. Whether we're buying a $100 million penthouse or just turning off our phones for an hour on a Sunday afternoon, we're all looking for the same thing. We're all looking for a way to reclaim the parts of ourselves that the world tries to take away. This building isn't just for the elite, it's a monument to the quietest human desire there is, the need to simply belong to ourselves again. 80 Clarkson is that place. A tower for the ambitious, the exhausted, the powerful, the private. A tower for the billionaire who no longer wants to be a symbol, but a human being. A tower that doesn't just rise above the city, it rises above the noise. And in doing so, it quietly becomes the most radical luxury of all, a home where the world finally leaves you alone. There is a haunting irony here. These towers are built for people who want to disappear into the soul of the West Village, yet they live behind gated entrances and 50,000 square feet of private amenities. They are buying the neighborhood's vibe while simultaneously insulating themselves from its reality. It's a beautiful contradiction, a fortress built out of a desire for freedom. In the end, maybe we shouldn't judge the billionaire seeking a fortress. Because whether we're buying a penthouse or just turning off our phones for an hour, we're all chasing the same thing. We're looking for a way to reclaim the parts of ourselves the world tries to take. And in this limestone sanctuary, the city finally stops being a competition and starts being a home. The quiet triumph of 80 Clarkson reminds us that a home is never just a collection of square footage or a tally of limestone blocks. It is a physical manifestation of an internal evolution. It's the realization that once you have conquered the world, the only thing left to conquer is your own peace of mind. At Richest Billionaires Homes, we believe every brick tells a story of a life well lived. We don't just show you floor plans, we show you the vision it took to draw them. If you're busy building your own legacy, subscribe. Let's look at the next blueprint together. You see, we don't just showcase properties, we sell a dream. Our mission is to narrate the lifestyle, the vision, and the legacy behind every billionaire's home. We believe in tell, don't just show, because every space deserves a voice. The original stories we share here aren't found anywhere else on YouTube or social media. That is our brand guarantee. These scripts are crafted by real people to inspire, captivate, and elevate your imagination. Because a home is more than an address, it's an identity.